Bill, with this framework in hand, I think we're now ready to talk to Kit and find out how she's approaching pricing at Ministry of Supply.
Great.
Kit, come on, welcome.
Nice
Hey,
to
Kate,
see
good
you.
to see you again.
Hey,
Thanks so
how
much
are
for having
you?
me on. I'm great. Good to be back
It's-
at MIT.
Great to have you here. Ministry of Supply, really cool name. What's
you.
in it?
So at Ministry of Supply, we integrate technology into clothing to make it more comfortable and functional. And what really matters to us is empowering our customer. So when we were thinking about our name, that was really important. And in the movie James Bond, there's a character called Q, and he outfits Bond for any mission. Q was a real person, and his cover was actually the Ministry of Supply. So just like Q made Bond prepared for anything, we try to make our customer prepared for anything.
And you know, Kit,
I think that's a great point that entrepreneurs sometimes forget, is they work on their elevator pitch. Well, their micro elevator pitch is just the name of the company, and to have an interesting story like this, you know, gets them remembered and gets people into them as people, and then it also allows them to start to tell their story and their value proposition. So right from the get-go. So this idea of naming your company is a very valuable asset that you can get. And sometimes entrepreneurs just jump over it.
yeah. And Kit, when Bill introduced you to us, he said, hey, this is such a great team. And the team emerged really through a marriage of two separate teams at MIT that were working on a similar idea. Tell us about this.
Yeah, in any entrepreneurship, a team is extremely valuable, and kind of who you decide to partner up with and who you decide to commit the next 5 to 10 years of your life with is an extremely important decision. So I came to MIT with kind of this idea in mind, and then I met Aman, one of my co-founders at Sloan, and he had the exact same idea. So him and I partnered up, started going through business plans, we're taking classes at Sloan, and then one day we were talking to Bill and kind of telling him our great idea. And he said, you know, there's 2 other people at MIT working on something really similar. You guys should talk. And at first it was like, damn it, they have the idea. We can't do this. And then it kind of dawned on us that the 4 of us ended up having very different backgrounds and ended up being a perfect complement. We not only had the same idea, but the same set of values. And I think that the fact all those combined make us a great team to this day.
That's awesome. And Bill, what was going through your mind when you decided to put them all together?
Well, we've talked about the importance of teams over and over again, but this was so obvious. I mean, it's like a sports team. You see someone who's a great rebounder and shooter, and you have someone over here who's great at defense and passing, and you just had to put them together. You had, you know, Kit and Aman, who understood the business aspect really, really well, and you had Gihan and Kevin over here, who just had all this energy and creativity, and you could just see if we could put them together, or it's not us, is you all could get together and feel comfortable about it, what a great team they would be, and that's what's borne it out. And I think, as Kit said, it's not just the diversity, but it's that common values and vision as to what they wanted to do that brought them together, because if you looked at it, they were so different.
So different.
Well, I'm glad for you. This is really fantastic. And today, we want to talk about how you went about setting pricing for these products of yours. But before we get there, we want to provide some context about Ministry of Supply for our student and talk about your beachhead market. How did you select it in the beginning?
So when we first kind of thought of this idea of making business clothing more comfortable, we kind of had a range of beachhead markets. We had women, we had men, and a lot of different customers. We kind of narrowed it down to men after talking to both women and men, because sizing is a lot simpler. A lot of men at businesses wear dress shirts, where women can get away with a lot of different clothing. And then we decided to go after the tech adopter, the early tech adopter.
And that's the end user, right?
Exactly, yeah. So someone who's willing to kind of pay more for the new technology. He's in line for the first iPhone because he wants something new. He wants to tell his friends that he discovered something. And then somebody that works in kind of a more corporate environment that would be wearing dress shirts that to date haven't evolved a lot and have been really uncomfortable.
And when that person looks at Ministry of Supply shirts, what's the value proposition to him?
The main value proposition is you're gonna look as good, if not better, than you currently do. Our fit is a lot more tailored. We have a designer who has been in the industry for years, so the aesthetic is great, but you're also going to feel a lot better. You're going to be a lot more comfortable. Everything is 4-way stretch, moisture wicking, anti-odor to really enable you to be your best throughout the day. And then the second component of that is you have to worry less. So everything's machine wash. You don't have to dry clean. You don't have to worry about wrinkles. If you're at work, you don't have to go home and change before going out to drinks. So really wanting to empower people at their workplace to feel their best.
Seems perfectly designed for a busy life.
Exactly. That's our exact customer, has a very busy life.
Might be a perfect shirt for you, Erdine.
Well, I don't know if I'm cool enough to.
You could be.
Well, in investigation of whether this is right for me, let's talk about pricing. 'Cause
Perfect.
this is something I do look at.
That was a brilliant transition, Erdine.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well, you know, I learned from the best.
Yeah.